Hey folks, Suzy Meadows here. Today I want to show you some gorgeous goodies that are going to be available tomorrow, which is November 4th, 2025. As a demonstrator with Stampin' Up, I had a chance to pre-order. That's one of the lovely things, the reasons that I had joined. But I want to show you several items. There's 2 suites. There are 12 bundles, and they're just gorgeous. And I'm going to show you some of these. Now, I'm going to link this flyer in the description below in the video, so that way you can go look to see everything that's possible. But I wanted to show you just a few of the things that I have been crafting with. If I didn't introduce myself, I'm Suzy Meadows. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Central Indiana. And one of the things I wanted to show you was the Friendly Foliage. Now you'll notice this is different. This is a different stamp storage than our others are in these cases, which have been nice. I've loved them. But now they are in sleeves. And this is an example of the sleeves. Now I actually got the bundle, the Friendly Foliage, and these are some really heavy-duty sleeves here. Let me show. This bundle came with the stamp set. I'll put it there. And then it came with the dies. Now, I personally, on this particular one, I'm going to keep them together because all of this shows you what the dies are, and they fit perfectly with this. So sometimes the bundles are standalones, but not this particular one. So this is the Friendly Foliage, and these are, like I said, the dies. Now I take them off the sticky sheet and put them on magnetic. That's just what I choose to do. You don't have to, but that's what I choose to do. And I also, as you can see, I have been cutting, I've been crafting, and so I just put them in our clear envelopes, and I store them together. So I am going to store this together. Let me put them back in here. They're photopolymer stamp sets, and so there is room for all of it inside here. And so there we go. So this is how I am going to store mine. But you figure out what's going to work for you. So I now have this versus this. This actually is a punch, but anyway. So a lot different in size-wise, as you can see. So this is a change, all good. But let me show you some of my designs with this bundle. Now, I always like to start just stamping. What can I do when I just stamp? And here, this is just a white thick cardstock, and I just stamped the image and the Get Well Soon. I love that font, by the way. And I don't know, did I do some on the inside? Oh, I did. Here's the other one. You're on my mind and in my heart. And then I did some pretty foliage. So that is a very simple and easy card, but yet it's really attractive. But then I wanted to see, okay, let's use the dies. And so what I did, I stamped and I die cut this, I'm calling this a window, but yet stamped this sentiment straight on there. And then I decided to get a little fancier. And here, one of the new items coming back is vellum. I love vellum. I'm so tickled. It comes in 12 by 12 sheets, but here I've just cut them down, and it's not really flimsy vellum. It's nice thick vellum cardstock like. And so here I used the exposed brick 3D embossing folder with vellum, and then on the back I just used my alcohol blends, and I tried to look some brick, and there where you put some plaster and things. And then I thought this was a window, so I die cut out this window, and then I also put it on, well, here, I've got a sample. Here's my other pieces and parts. This was clear vellum, and I used cloud cover. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Let's see. Can I do this? There, you can see it a little bit better. So here I used my alcohol blends. Here's the dark cloud cover, some light cloud cover. Nothing there, and a little bit of light. And from that, I made just a subtle window. And And I popped that up. I did get well soon. And oh, that bling there is a very subdued bling of the earthy matte dots. I like those because they aren't really high profile, and I love these earthy colors. So that was an example of what I could do with this particular stamp set. Now the dies, if I bring this back here, the dies, you have some standalone foliage, and I have not crafted with that yet, but here's some examples. Let's pull some things out of what I did. Here I used some crumb cake, and so I could have very easily put that, well, with vellum it's a little bit tougher, but there's an example of some crumb cake, or I could even use some of the white leaves, and that would have looked good. So, and here I just tried stamping with different colors. Granny apple green on crumb cake, and here I wondered, what if I added dark, a little bit of brown to make that look like a window frame? I'm not sure about that, but here's just a few examples of things I have been crafting with on this particular bundle. So now I've got a couple other things I wanted to show you as possibilities for these online exclusives. And let me get these out of the way here. The next is this Brushed with Beauty Designer Series paper. It's 12 by 12, and it is gorgeous. I love it here. And I've got a couple creations with this. So you've got this pretty paper. You've got the Mossy Meadows on the back. Here you have vanilla, petal pink, Calypso coral, some vanilla, like I said, and green. Then you have some coordinating patterns. Now see, this is gorgeous. And here on the back is a coordinating, that would coordinate very well on a card. I love it when the A and B side go together very well. Here's petal pink. And here's, now see, here's some Darling Duckling. And that's pretty. And then here, we've already looked at this one. I think this one here we've not looked at. Yes. So here we have some nice, that's probably crumb cake. And then there you've got Calypso coral and petal pink in that as the other side. So gorgeous. But let me show you what. Now this is one of the suites. Let me pull this up here. This is one of the suites. So here it's got your Designer Series paper. It has stamp sets and coordinating dies, two different ones that you could go with. Here's, you can get vellum. So now see, with the suite, you use one number, your 167100, and you get everything on this page. Also, I got the Pearls of Beauty bling, the embossing folder. Let me show you those, and I've used both of them. Here's the Pearls of Beauty bling. Really pretty. You've got your crumb cake, you've got your Calypso coral, or I've heard that sort of blends pretty good with poppy depending on your project. And here you have some white. So those are really pretty. And then here is your beautiful pattern, your embossing folder. Now, I'll have a project here, but if you notice using this embossing folder, this is the deboss, so it goes down. And you can see the design, but let's go to the other side, which is embossed. Now what I did, you can see this ink. With my petal pink ink pad, I just dragged it all the way across. And you see how that makes it pop? It gives a lot more definition. So I like doing that. So, and let me show you a couple cards I created. Here's one of them using the Barely Beige. And I used some of that pretty paper. Now see, here is one of the Friendly Foliage dies I used that I just showed you a minute ago. Let me I don't want to send everything flying. Here we go. So I use this die here in Mossy Meadow, and that gives it a nice little focal point for the sentiment. And I use the earthy dots. And here's the folder, but it's really subtle. So, but here I will move this over here. This is where I added the ink, and it really makes this pop. So here's a different design that's in that Brush Beauty paper. And this is the flip side, the Army Green or Mossy Meadow, using Get Well Soon. And here is the Pearls of Beauty Bling. I use the Crumb Cake and I use the Calypso Coral. And you can see how it blends very well. That flower, it lets you use a lot of colors. So here's a couple projects that I used with that. So like I said, I just wanted to show you some of the items that are going to be available tomorrow, which is November 4th. That's a Tuesday. Here's some of the projects I used with the Brush Beauty. And let's get some of these here. And I had another one. Here, just put a couple of them. Here is just stamping on it. And here's where I stepped it up by adding ink on the back of the vellum. So, like I said, here's some of the projects that are that I made using this online exclusive, some of these products. Now, gang, if you got any questions, you can get a hold of me at craftingwithsuzy.stampinup.net. In this video, I'll put a link of all the goodies that I used in case you're interested in shopping. I would love to help you out if you're interested in shopping at all. If you like this video, make sure you maybe leave a comment if which of these you like the best. And don't forget to hit that bell so you can subscribe. So when I do videos, you can catch the next one. So thanks so much. I appreciate you stopping in, checking out the video, and you have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.